Alright students, we are going to learn about inequalities today. This should be a review from 6th grade, but by the end of this video you will be able to solve and graph inequalities. So first we need to understand what an inequality is. Inequalities are mathematical sentences that contain the following symbols. Please take a minute and write down each symbol and the words that describe that symbol. So we've got the greater than symbol, the less than symbol, greater than or equal to has the line underneath, less than or equal to has the line underneath, and then when something is not equal, you see a slash mark through the equal sign. Graphing an inequality simply shows all the possible solutions to that statement. So if we're saying x is less than 3, then that means any number, x is greater than, I apologize. If we're saying x is greater than 3, then that means any number greater than 3 is a solution to this statement. So we want to have an open circle on a 3 on the number line, and we're saying any number that is to the right of 3 would make this statement true, because it would be greater than 3. 3 cannot make the solution true, because 3 is not greater than 3, it's the exact same, but any number to the right of 3 would be included. So when we're saying greater than or less than, we use open circles. When we're saying greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, we use closed circles because we're saying that we're including that number in addition to everything to the left or everything to the right. Before you graph, you want to make sure your variable is on the left side of the inequality statement. Okay? Always make sure before you graph that your inequality statement has the variable on the left with the inequality and a number on the right side. Take a minute and pause the video. Make sure you have all of this information written down. Alright, so let's practice. So we've got example 1 where we're graphing x is less than 4. When you're graphing x is less than 4, you have a circle on positive 4. That circle is going to be open because we're not including 4, but we're saying anything less than 4. So we should have a line going to the left on our number line. When we're saying on example 2, negative 2 is less than or equal to x, you want to flip that around and say x is greater than or equal to negative 2 before you graph. You basically just want to reverse the statement. So negative 2 is less than or equal to x is the same as saying x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Now that we have the variable on the left, we're going to put a closed circle on negative 2 because we're saying negative 2 is included, and we are saying it's any number greater than or equal to, so we're going to have a line going to the right. So what does the following graph represent in example 3? Well, we know we've got an open circle on negative 5, and we know it's going to the right. So we're going to say x is greater than negative 5. Okay? For example 4, what does the following graph represent? We've got a closed circle on 3, and our line is moving to the left. So we're going to say x is less than or equal to positive 3. When we're taking a statement that's written in words and we are trying to come up with the inequality for it, we have to be very careful with our vocabulary. So it says the temperature during the winter of 2014 was at least 2 degrees Fahrenheit. So we've got a variable on the left, we've got 2 degrees on the right, and we're saying that x has to be at least 2. Okay, so if it has to be at least 2, then 2 can be included, okay, and it wants to be greater than 2. So we're going to say x has to be greater than or equal to 2. We're going to put a closed circle on 2 because we're including it, and anything higher than 2 would count. The classroom holds no more than 30 students. No more than. So 30 is the limit. It's the maximum. So we have x on the left, 30 on the right, and we're going to say that x has to be less than or equal to 30. Because we have to have no more than 30. 30 is our maximum. So on your number line, if it's completely blank, we're going to have 30 as one of the middle tick marks. You want to have a number higher than 30 on the right. so 30, 31, 32, 33, and you want to have numbers lower than 30 on the left, so 29 and 28. We're going to have a closed circle on 30 because we're including 30, but 30 is the maximum. We can't have any more than that, so any number less than 30 would suffice. Solving an inequality, you simply want to use inverse operations to isolate the variable, just like we would in an equation. If you divide or multiply by a negative, we flip the inequality symbol. Then we graph our solution. So we also want to remember that our variable must be on the left side of the inequality. So we look at example 5, we see that the variable's on the right side. Okay? So I would go ahead and just rewrite it before you even solve it. N plus 1, flip your symbol around, is less than 2. Okay? So after we've rewritten it so the variable is now on the left side, we're going to solve it. We're going to use our inverse operations. We're going to subtract 1 on both sides. So now n is less than 1, because 2 minus 1 is 1. So now we're going to have an open circle on 1, and it has to be less than 1, so we're going to go to the left. For example 6, we've got negative 4x is less than or equal to 8. So because we have our variable on the left side already, we don't have to flip it around. We do need to use inverse operations to get the variable alone. Negative 4x is multiplication, so we're going to divide by negative 4 on both sides. And look here, when divided by a negative, our second step said that if we divide or multiply by a negative number, we need to flip this inequality symbol. So x is greater than or equal to 8 divided by negative 4, which would be negative 2. Okay? We're going to have a closed circle on negative 2 because we're including it. It's got that line underneath the greater than symbol. And we're saying anything greater than or equal to negative 2, so we're going to go to the right. All right, you've got 2 examples I want you to try. Bring to class tomorrow so that we can discuss them.